Just imagine being tortured, abused, and subjected to horrific, unfathomable events, all because of your beliefs and what you look like. The Jewish people actually went through this for 4 years in something called the Holocaust. This is a picture of Jewish men in the sleeping quarters of concentration camps. We're reaching a time in history where people don't know the events that took place during the Holocaust. I want to inform you all about the Holocaust. My hope is that we always remember what happened during the Holocaust. I found all of my information on history.com. The Holocaust was an awful event during 1941 through 1945. By the conclusion of my speech, you will have the knowledge of actually who led the Holocaust and why, what the Holocaust was, and how the Holocaust ended. Right here is a timeline of the Holocaust from 1941 to 1945. Who led the Holocaust and why? Adolf Hitler was the leader of the Holocaust, along with his soldiers, the Nazis. The reasoning behind the Holocaust was that Hitler thought he was inferior to the Jews, which basically means that he's above them, that he is better than them in any quality possible. Hitler was also anti-Semitic, which is basically anti-Jewish. And thirdly, Hitler needed someone to blame for all of Germany's problems, so he just blamed it on all the Jewish people and put them into camps. Here's actually a picture of Hitler in his uniform. And then another picture is about to come up is Nazis. So these are actually Hitler's soldiers that I was telling you about earlier. And this was the Nazi symbol on their flags. So the symbol, when they were walking down the streets, when people saw the symbol, they knew who they were, and if they were Jewish, they ran from them. What was the Holocaust? The Holocaust was basically a genocide during World War II with about 11 million deaths, and that is pretty awful to even fathom. The types of people who were killed and captured during the Holocaust were Jewish people, and a little information about the Jewish people is they actually wore the Star of David on their clothing because Hitler made them, so when they were walking down the roads and stuff like that, they could see that the patch of the Star of David, and the Nazis would immediately capture them. Another type of person who was captured was any sort of twins. Twins were captured because scientists wanted to do research on them, like how they were, why they were, and all that kind of stuff. Also, gypsies, homosexuals, Jehovah's Witness, disabled people, Roma, Polish Christians, all that kind of stuff like that. What the Holocaust was. So, once the Nazis would capture the Jews, they took them to concentration camps. What a concentration camp was, it was kind of like a work camp, but they were forced to go there. The Nazis would tell the Jews that maybe if they worked hard enough, they would be freed from the camps, and that really didn't happen. The concentration camps were actually used to hold the Jews until they were put to their deaths. Once they got there, the Nazis would actually rid them of all of their belongings, including their shoes, their clothes, any jewelry of any sort, and they would also shave their head bald so all of them looked alike. They were also giving them an ID number to keep track of who they were and all their stuff like that. While at the concentration camps, the Jews worked and they were rarely fed, and if they were fed, it was not really nutritional. And Jews were actually put into gas chambers that led them to their deaths. Many of the Jews thought they were going to take showers, but it ended to their death. This is Auschwitz, and Auschwitz was the highest populated camp there was. And the next picture is about to come up, and it is all these shoes that was found at Auschwitz. So think about all the shoes and all the families that are behind the shoes. And the next picture is the gas chambers of how I was telling you earlier, how they thought it was a shower and it was a gas chamber, and they were led to their deaths. What the Holocaust was like behind the scenes, basically outside the concentration camps. So once the Jewish people heard about their families and other Jewish relatives getting captured, they knew something was wrong. So they immediately went into hiding. So basically what it was is they had to be very quiet wherever they were. They went in basements and upstairs rooms that were never really found. And they had to be quiet 24/7 because the Nazis would come by and check and see if any Jewish people were there. Some Catholics actually took in Jewish children to teach them the school stuff and they hid other people in their homes. For example, Anne Frank was a person who actually lived for a very long time in a hiding place for 2 years with 7 other people there. People had to bring them food constantly, and they constantly had to be quiet with all the things that they did. So here is a picture of a man in a hiding place. It is in a basement. It is below ground, and basically right here is a thing that goes down to hide them for when the Nazis came. How the Holocaust ended. So basically, the Allies invaded Germany, and they started to see like dead corpses everywhere, and they were really confused what was going on. And so they later went to discover where this was all coming from. Once they stumbled upon a concentration camp, the Nazis immediately ran because they knew they were outmanned, outpowered, and everything like that. After the Nazis left all the concentration camps about 2 to 3 days later, the Allies, who included Great Britain, the U.S., the Soviet Union, and China, they were helping the Jewish get out of the concentration camps. They were actually very confused why they were there, and once they found out that they were there for no reason, they were really discouraged and mad of why they were there. So this is a picture, it's about to come up, of children actually being released and seeing the Allies come to help them. As you can see, the Holocaust was a tragic event during 1941 through 1945. To review the points, Hitler led this awful event called the Holocaust, which was a killing of 11 million people. But the Allies came in and captured and saved the captured people. My hope is that we always remember the Holocaust and who lost their lives during the Holocaust. I would like to have a silent moment for the people who lost their lives.